I'll let my husband know too.
Great. So just a reminder, everybody, please mute your devices until it's time for you to speak, or if you have any comments, help with the feedback issues. Mackenzie, would you please call the roll, please?
Yes, Mr. President. Ms. Carrington?
Yes.
Ms. Lloyd? I don't think she's on yet. Mr. Parthmore? Mr. Ramsdell? Ms. Reedy? Gail, you're muted.
Here.
Mr. Stanley?
Here.
Ms. Weichel?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Ms. Newell? Michelle, you were also muted. There you go.
Here. Oops.
Mr. Volt? And then Mr. Steineman and Mr. Sternberg are also absent, but wrote in.
Great. Looks like we do have a quorum then. Let's move on to the meeting minutes. Everyone should have received a copy of those. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections, or are there any motions?
Gail, we can.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I saw her talking, but your mute is still on, Gail.
Yes, I move we accept the minutes.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Meeting minutes are approved. We'll move to current business, which are the sculptures for the Lang Trust. Greg?
I can't see it, Greg. I can just see a couple of the people on.
Either. I see things that you were showing last time.
There you go.
There.
Well, I loved those. Awesome. So I'm really glad that, the other people were on the same page, because they have a lot of sense of humor, and they're just fun. They were on my yes list from the beginning. That was on my yes list too. I wish it was taller, but but it's really cool. I don't think that's more than 5 or 6 feet max. Yeah. That one's pretty tall. I can't right off the bat tell you how tall everything is, but I remember that one was like 10 feet or more, I think.
It's got that 90s thing going on.
It's very tall too. I think that's at least 12 feet tall, if not taller. Yeah. And I think we large pieces, so.
Yeah, I agree. I think some of them don't stand out as much as they could if they were just a little bit taller.
Marcia, would you care to comment on, before we make a motion, I should say, would you care to comment on kind of the process and the makeup of the group, and just kind of give us an overall of how these were selected, and aside from being through email, were the artists involved, or was it all through the mostly Lang Trust members?
Well, I know that Molly Carver was involved, Chris Parthmore, me. Gosh, was there one more person? I don't know if there was. Well, you, Greg, you were involved. And I think there were actually 200 sculptures. So I know for me, I just went through them pretty quickly and had a folder for my maybes, because there were a lot of maybes. And then I went through a whole nother process and my maybe twos. and in the end, I think there was one sculpture that I really wanted to see that didn't make it. But for the most part, everything that did at least was in my maybes, and some of them were in my for sure yeses. So I think it was a good selection. And I really was looking to have some larger pieces, taller pieces. So I remember there wasn't any specs where before you could ask Ken how large things were. This time you couldn't, but I just emailed him and he sent me a list of everything I asked about. So.
Great, thanks for that. It sounds like a monumental task to try to whittle down 200 to the few that we ended up selecting. So good job. I don't have any other comments regarding the placement or the art. We'll open it up for discussion and then look for a motion.
I just want to say I think these choices are more interesting and more fun and well done than last year's. These just stand out to me.
I agree.
I agree too. I really think that the library, I like all of the locations, but I think that the library pick is like so appropriate just because,
Yeah, I
you
love
know,
it.
the children, you know, I just think it'll be something fun, like a good talking point for everybody.
Great, thanks, Greg. I guess with that, I would look for a motion to support the proposed sculptures and their locations.
I'll motion to approve.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Great. With that, we have a motion, a second, and I think we will take roll on this one. Mackenzie, would you please read the roll?
Yes, Mr. President. Ms. Carrington?
Yes.
Ms. Reedy? Gail, I saw you say yes, but you are still muted.
Yes.
Mr. Stanley?
Yes.
Ms. Weichel?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Newell? And Mr. Wolf?
So it sounds like that motion is unanimous. And we look forward to those being installed on October 8th. With that, we'll move to old business. Greg, care to update us on the floating sculpture? Thanks for the public service, Greg. Yeah, that's too bad he was denied entry, but it's understandable. Look forward to that floating sculpture around the area, hopefully soon. With that, I think we'll move on to new business. Does anyone have any new business to bring forward? Doesn't sound like any new business. I guess we could look to adjourn if we have a motion.
I have a motion. I'll motion.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor for adjournment, signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody